Most of the stuff that we're going to be doing is through the Google Classroom, so that means you're going to have access to storage online for your files. However, we are going to need a couple of times where we need things that are in-house, they're accessing network drives on the school, and also there's going to be other courses. So you're going to hear people talking about things like the H drive and the T drive and the U drive, and you need to know what those are about. We're going to use those once in a while, but most of the time we're going to be working with our online storage. However, to do this for other drives, network drives, which are only accessible from school, what you're going to do is you're going to do one of two things. You're going to start up the file manager from here. You can also use the Windows key. Windows key with an E will also start up that file manager, file explorer. I'm going to move mine up here. Now over on the left hand side you'll notice there's a list of different places and so on. Near the bottom, and if you don't see it, you're going to have to click where it says this PC. There's a little arrow beside it that will open up the rest of those drives. Pop that one up, and you're looking for some things. Now mine are labeled differently than what you're going to see. There's a couple that are the same. So this one here that says student submissions, that's the T drive. That's where you can hand things in, so anybody can access that. There's one that will have your name attached to it, and mine is not labeled with, mine's labeled with a K. Yours will be labeled with an H. So that is your H drive. Only you can access your H drive, and you can store basically stuff for school there. There's some other things about it, but we'll leave it at that. Your H drive is your personal space on the school network server. And then finally there's one here that's called student sources or student resources. I believe on yours it says, when you look at it, it's going to say student source files or student sources. Mine says student resources. Mine says, I believe it says W, yours should say U, capital letter U. So unfortunately mine are labeled a little bit differently than yours. To click on student sources, that's where, so for example, if you are in, take that back, if you are in this class, so BTT 10, and I'm Mr. Oliver, you're going to scroll down, you're going to find a folder that says BTT 10 Mr. Oliver. You can open that up and you'll find a few things. So say for example this one here, I'm going to have you doing something with it. Styles practice, you open that and it opens up the file, and unfortunately this takes a bit of time, but it opens up the file. There it is. Almost. There it is. Not quite. It'll get there. If and when you are ready to make changes to it and you will want to save it, I was really hoping this would be faster than that, you as a student cannot save something in the U drive. So this is where things get a little confusing. You are allowed to save something. So if I go now to File, Save As, because I need to change where it's going. If I want to save it as, if I want to put it in my H drive, then when it comes up I can do that. So I need to, well, I can do it from the side here. So I'm going to go to this PC and I'm going to put it in my H drive, BTT 10 for example, or if you need to hand it in to a teacher, or if you're doing a project in another class where several people need to access something, maybe you would use the T drive. So that's a little bit further down where it says, or a little, in this case further up, where it says student submissions, and then you can put it in there. So we'll have a folder that says BTT 10 Mr. Oliver somewhere. There we go. And that's where if you need to hand something in and it's not being turned in on the Google Classroom, you'll put it there. Okay, so a little bit confusing just because there's a lot of drives going on and mine aren't labeled the same as yours, but we will need to know how to access the drives on the school. Your H drive for your personal stuff, the T drive for handing things in to teachers where they can access it as well, or other students can access it, I guess, and then the U drive, which is kind of like the master copy of things. You can read it, but you would not be allowed to save anything to the U drive. Other than that, we'll do a few times or do a few things where we use this. And then most of what we're going to be doing is what we've been doing. That's all we need to know.